Hello students, now in this video class we are going to discuss about 12th standard computer science chapter 2 data abstraction part 4. The last video class we discussed about what is meant by list, how to create a list. Okay, now in this class we are going to discuss about what is meant by tuples, how to create a tuples in Python programming language also. Okay students, now you can see the definition about tuples. A tuple is a comma separated sequence of values surrounded with parentheses. So tuple is also the sequence of values. Okay, so what is meant by list? List is a collection of values or sequence of values. Okay, so tuple is also the sequence of values surrounded with parentheses. We can use normal parentheses. Okay, see this example, color equal to red comma blue comma green. Okay, so the elements are enclosed within the parentheses. Okay, so tuple is similar to a list. It looks like a list. The only difference is in list we are using the square bracket, in tuple we are using the normal parentheses. Okay, and then one more difference is the difference between the two, that is list and tuple, is that you cannot change the elements of a tuple. So once the tuple elements are assigned, that elements cannot be changed. But in list you can able to change the elements stored in a list. Okay, so that is the difference. Can you able to understand? The elements in a tuple cannot be changed. The elements in a list can be changed. Okay, so now you can see how to access the tuple elements. Here the tuple is, name of the tuple is color is equal to, there are three elements is there, red, green, blue. Okay, if you want to access these elements, we just use the index value of that particular element. Okay, so the index value, it starts from 0. Okay, the index subscript always starts from 0. So color of 0, what is the meaning for this one? You can access the first element in the tuple color. Okay, so color of 0, what is the first element is there? Red. You can able to access the first element. And then color of 1, now we are going to access the second element of the tuple color. So color of 1, we can get the value green. Okay, so the index value, it starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2. If you want to access this element, then we can give color of 2. Okay, so within square bracket. Here the square bracket is used to specify the index value. Okay, now you can see representation of tuples as a pair. We already know the pair can be represented in list or tuples. Okay, in data abstractions, the compound data structure pair can be expressed in either in the form of list or in tuples. Okay, so in the last class we see one example, that is rational number examples to represent the pair of element in a list. Now you can see the example to represent the elements in tuples. Okay, tuple as a pair. Nums equal to 1, 2. Here the normal parenthesis is used to specify tuple, and then here we are having two elements, that is 1, 2. What is meant by pair? Pair means bundling together, that is two elements are bounded together is known as a pair. Here 1, 2, two elements is there, so we call it as a pair. Now if you want to access the elements, then we can use a index value, nums of 0. So this index is going to access the first element 1, and then nums of 0. Here nums is the name of the tuple, and then here you specify the index value. 1 as the index value, that is the second position. So first position is 0, second position is 1. We can access the second position element. What is the value stored in nums of 1? The value 2 will be written. Okay, so note the square bracket notation is used to access the data you stored in the pair. Okay, here the square bracket notation, what purpose we are using the square bracket notation, is used to access the data you stored in the pair. Okay, so the data is 0 indexed, meaning you can access the first element. Okay, so 0 index mean, what is the meaning for 0 index? The first element we are going to access, that is with nums of 0, and then second index second with nums of 1. Okay, so here the index value is, the first index is 0 and then second index is 1. Okay, So using this index values, we can retrieve the values stored in a tuple. Okay. So now you can see about the next topic, data abstraction in structures. Okay. Data abstractions in structure. See this topic. So before going to this topic, you first know why we need a structure. To understand this, we see this example, mastermind game. Mastermind is a code breaking game for two players. Mastermind is the game of two players. So now you can see how to play this game. In this game, you will have a different colors of beads. In this game, you will have a different colors of beads. That is 10 colors of beads. The first player set a puzzle. Okay, the first player set a puzzle. Out of this 10 colors, first player choose any 4 colors of beads. Any order set the puzzle. So each guess is made by placing a row of code bugs on the decoding board. The second player choose any 4 color and place in any order. Each time, first player says how many colors are correct and which order is correct. They give hint. The second player must have to remember the hint given by the first player. So each time is not easy to remember because all are different colors. So we use list to represent the colors. So say this in this example, we are using the list predictor. Predict equal to red, blue, green, green. We can use same colors also more than one times. Okay. So green, green. Predict equal to red, blue, green, green. When we are using list, we have some problems. Okay. So this is the way you can represent. Okay. So in the second player, guess the colors and arrange the bits according to the colors. At last they reach the first player puzzles. Okay. The first player plays all the colors in this board and covered. Okay. The second player guessing the colors and ordering the bits. So when the colors are correct, the first player give the hints with white beads. Okay. So based on this, the second player guess what are the colors the first player arranged and find the correct colors. Okay. So this is the game you can play with a mastermind. Okay. So if you want to give individual name to the element, is not possible. If you want to access then use index to access the elements. So when the problem need individual name, so here no need for individual name. In this example, no need to give the individual name for this colors. Okay, that's why list is enough. Here red, blue, green, green. In this example, there is no need to give individual name for this each item. So in this problem, we can use list for representing the different colors. Okay, but in some kind of complex problems, we want to give individual name to an element. It's not possible in list. So if we want to access, then use index to access the element. When the problem need individual name, then we cannot use list. So better we go for something else. Here we use structure for represent the multi-item object. Okay. So data abstraction supported by list as well as the structure. Okay. So when we need a structure means when you want to store multi-item object, then we need a structure. Okay. So list is how the list can satisfy data abstraction. What does mean by data abstraction? Data abstraction is used to hide the element. Okay. So see this list allows data abstraction in that you can give a name to a set of memory cells. Here how many elements is there? 3 elements is there. We can access this 3 elements by using a single name. So you hide the individual name of these elements. Okay. So the list supports data abstraction. Now we can see structure, construct or class. So structure is used for naming multi-item object. So why we need a structure? Multi-item object. Okay. Structure is a group of data items of different data types represented by a single name. In object-oriented language, it is also called as class. So structure is also called as a class. So see this example, how the multi-item object is represented in list as well as in class or structures. Okay. So person equal to Batmastri, comma, Bhaskar, comma, some number is given, comma, one mail ID is given. Okay. So in this representation does not explicitly specify what each part represent. So in list representation we are not specifying. So this is the name of the person and this is the contact number. This is the mail ID. You are not specifying the separate name to identify the elements. Okay. So to avoid this problem, instead of using a list, you can use a structure constructor. Okay. So this structure construct is called, in OOPS language, it is called class constructor. That's why we can say class or structure constructor. Okay. So now you can see this example, class person. Here class is the keyword, person is the name of the class. And then creation. Creation is the function used within this class. Here you have to specify the name, individual name, that is first name, last name, ID, email. Okay. So you can give the value to this particular name separately. Okay. The new data type person is pictorially represented as the same data type how we can represent in picture form. Person, what is meant by person? Person is the class name. Okay. So multi-part data representation. Here creation is the function belonging to the new data type. Which one is new data type? Person. Person is called class or data type. Why we call it as a data type? Class is known as a user defined data type. So we call person as a class or data type. Okay. And then here first name, last name, ID, email. These are all the variables used inside of the class. We can also call it as a data members of the class. Okay. So variable or field belonging to the new data type. A class comprises of data members and member functions. Okay. Here the member function is creation and then data members are first name, last name, ID, email. Okay. So these are all the data members of the class person. Now you can see how to access this class members. If you want to access your class members, you must create an object to access the class members. How the object is created? In Python programming language, you must specify the object name and then colon equal to class name with a parenthesis. Okay. So this is the statement is used to create an object. Here P1 is the object. P1 is equal to person. So in this line we are going to create an object to access the class element. Okay. So P1 equal to person, statement creates the object. So first name equal to, we are setting a field called first name with value Batmastri. Okay. So setting a field called first name with value Batmastri and then last name equal to Bhaskar. Setting a field called last name with value Bhaskar. And then ID is equal to some numbers is given. Here we are setting the value 994221234 to the field ID. And then email is a field name and we are setting the value computerscience@gmail.com. So this is the values assigned to this field. Output of the first name Batmastri. So person is the class or data type. Here P1 is the instance of the class or object. We can able to create more than one object for the same class. Okay. So P1, P2, P3, P4. How many objects we need? We can create objects and then memory space is allocated for individual objects. Okay. So the class data members memory space can be allocated for each individual objects. We can process the data through this objects. Okay. Okay, now you can see the definition about class. What is a class? A class has bundled data and the functions that work on that data. See this example. A class comprises of data members and functions. Okay, so class kulla we are having data function, that is data members, first name, last name, id, email, and then member function creation. So we call it as a